So we're here to talk to you about sleeping and dreaming. It's kind of boring if we're just talking at you the whole time, right? You ready to participate a little? Especially toward the end? Okay. If we're talking about dreaming, then that should apply to everybody, right? Everybody has dreams. Do you know anybody who says, I don't dream? They're lying. They don't remember their dreams. You have to dream. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So this is really one that applies to everybody. I teach full-time at Chandler Gilbert Community College. I've been doing that since 1997. And I teach Psych 101 and development and some other classes where we talk about sleeping and dreaming. We'll talk about that. My other part-time job is I evaluate kids who get arrested for the juvenile court. So if I look familiar, that's where we met each other. I thought you were in jail all those years ago. I'm glad they let you out so you can be here tonight. All right, Dr. Al, his specialties are a little bit different, but we're both psychologists, so feel free to chime in, ask us anything. The last part of it, the last 30 minutes or so, is going to be participation. So I'll ask you some things along the way too for your participation, but especially the last half hour. That's what we'll be doing. Sleeping and dreaming. Anybody take Psych 101? Okay, that's what I thought. I actually considered cheating and just doing the Psych 101 PowerPoint for dreaming, but no, that would be, right? That wouldn't be appropriate because you've heard it already. So you're going to hear some stuff that you've heard already, but some different stuff too about the theory and science of sleeping and dreaming. You ready? Without further ado. Certainly people who are just walking in haven't had a chance to get this yet. So yeah, you don't have to stay seated. You can come get one of these if you want. There's plenty of extras. Let's get rolling. Ready? Okay. Did you want to QR it to your phone? You're welcome to do that. It's also on your printout there too. But if you want to follow along on your phone, no problem. You know whose idea it was for the QR? This guy. For real, yeah. Yeah, see, tech savvy. You just click on it and there it is. Okay. In history, there's a lot of stuff dating back thousands of years about dreaming. So this isn't just a new thing that we're interested in dreaming. It's mentioned in the Bible. Ancient Greeks wrote about dreaming. Hieroglyphics have pictures of people laying down and like an image above them. So we assume that they're talking about dreaming too. Modern times, let's fast forward thousands of years. Books, movies, even songs. For those of you who got here a few minutes early, we had one song playing while we were setting up by the Everly Brothers. All I Have to Do Is Dream, or also known as Dream, Dream, Dream. I want you to help me think of a few others. There's got to be more songs about dreams than that old song, right? Dream on. There we go. Dream on. You get the first prize of the day. Get ahead. Is that the only one? Aerosmith fan? Yeah. What else?
Sweet dreams are made of me.
Oh, good. You get 2 for singing it. Outstanding. Can you? You can do the Steven Tyler? No? Oh, okay. Anybody Taylor Swift fan? She has a song that has dream in the name. No? Any others you can think of? Like what?
I don't want to sing it.
What are the lyrics? You can say the lyrics.
Never mind.
I think I know. Yeah, which one?
Dreaming in Teenager.
There you go. Actually, I have multiple of these for everybody. Yeah, what do you got? Oh, you're not going to sing it? No? That was good, actually.
What your heart makes.
There we go. See? There's a lot of songs out there about dreaming. I admire some of you that are willing to sing in front of everybody. There's my lovely wife back there. Raise your hand there, Kathy. Yeah, we went to a concert on Saturday night. Jeffrey Osborne, if you're into 80s R&B, and he did this thing with audience participation, and he would have people sing and give them a microphone and stuff like that. It was nice. So some people are more brave than others, right? I got to admit, when he said, okay, now white people, I got a little scared. I was like, he's going to pick on me, isn't he? No, but a lot of people participated. All right. If you guys are working this event and participating, you want to give out some candy. I know there's other people who have songs, right? You can just pick a couple of handfuls. We got enough there for everybody to have a few. Like airheads. Come on, really? That's like, you know, not liking Nilla wafers if you like cookies or something. I mean, it's just impossible, right? Take an airhead or two. Make yourself happy. All right.
I'm not walking around like that. I'm like, want candy?
I told you I'm going to deviate from what you would learn in Psych 101. You just don't need to hear the same things over and over again, even though some of this will be repetitive. Did you know these facts? It's rare for babies and toddlers to dream about themselves. They tend to dream about things and animals, especially if they tell you what their dreams are about. It's not themselves that are in the dream. Isn't that weird? That's a little different, huh? Do you ever wonder why you remember some of your dreams and you don't remember others? That's because of when you wake up. If you wake up during a dream, like your alarm goes off and you wake up, you're probably going to remember it. If you're in a cycle and you haven't had a dream for 45 or 50 minutes, you're probably not going to remember it. Anybody snore? Do you? Me too. If you're snoring, you're probably not dreaming. I keep bumping into this. When you do have a dream that you remember, do you realize where it's happening? These are the most common settings. In your current home, followed by wherever you work, followed by your childhood home. Now, if you still live in your childhood home, you got 2 out of 3 right there, huh? You're probably likely to dream about home. 2/3 of all adults have had a deja vu feeling. Like what? Something happens and it already happened in your dream. You're like, oh my goodness, I had a dream about this and now it's happening for real. Isn't that weird? Deja vu experience with a dream? Deja vu can mean a few things, but with dreams, that's what it would mean. You go somewhere, you do something, and you're like, wait a minute, I had a dream about this. That ever happened to anybody?
Can't remember.
Anybody got a good story you want to share?
Which
No? It does happen. Okay. 2/3 of all people would report that has happened to them. By the way, we'll give out some more of these PowerPoints because obviously I don't need to take them home with me if you're just getting here. Now you know when you're a toddler what you dream about. Bad dreams, nightmares, broccoli. Anybody just love broccoli? Do ya? Yeah, my daughter likes broccoli ever since she was little. It's still true today. She go to Old Spaghetti Factory and she orders that. It's like soaked in butter. I'm not sure how healthy that is, but still. Okay. Ready? Moving right along. You've probably heard this in Psych 101 or perhaps a different psychology class that you've taken or even a biology class that you've taken. There's reasons why humans sleep and other animals sleep for that matter too. Adaptive evolutionary functions. It's a safety thing that you're more alert when you're awake if you've had a good night's sleep. It conserves your energy so that you do have motivation and power and energy the next day. It restores your body and mind. It's like resetting your computer if you want a good technology analogy. And it also heals neurons. Sleep is good for your brain. It really is. All right, that guy looks like he's about to fall asleep, huh? Or maybe he's waking up. The EEG. This is an oversimplified version. There are many, many different EEGs. By the way, if you have an iPhone or an Android, you could put in those 3 letters and look for apps and then buy a product to measure your own brain waves. It's not nearly as good as the kind they have in hospitals, but still. This is what it looks like. This is the simplified version where it's only 1 line, not multiple lines. So let's talk about this. First, you see really fast brain waves, but they're tiny, they're very small. You are awake. How do we know when you're hooked up to the EEG and they put the things on your head, the little electrodes and stuff, that you're falling asleep? The brain waves are getting bigger and longer. Then, how do we know when you are asleep? Stage 1, irregular. The brain waves are getting irregular. Now, you know what's weird about stage 1? You're awake and you're asleep. It's the strangest thing. Somebody could talk to you and say, like, have you seen my keys? Oh, yeah, they're by the pizza box. How did I just do that? I'm asleep. Well, no, you're kind of half awake, half asleep in stage 1. You know that feeling, right? Now, here's another weird thing that happens in stage 1. You can get images in your head of yourself falling. It's not a dream, it's an image. So you're laying there and you're half awake, half asleep, and you're like, oh shit. Whoa. And then your friend goes, dude, what are you doing? Oh, I thought I like fell off a mountain or a roof or a cliff or something. Okay, that was weird. Everybody does that. Don't you think you've had that happen, haven't you? Everybody's had that. That occurs in stage 1, and we would see a big blip in the middle if that happened to you. Stage 2, spindles and K complex. We won't get into the technicalities, but it's getting bigger. Do you see that? But not as big as delta sleep, deep sleep. Stage 3 and, oh good, it does say delta. I was hoping it did. Big, slow brain waves. Anybody know what that means? Your brain is really resting. That's a good thing. You want to wake up and feel good tomorrow? Get delta sleep. Easy for me to say, don't you think? Another thing that you want to get is REM. Wait a minute. What does that REM look like? It looks like you're awake. Why? Why does it look like you're awake? Because you're dreaming. Your brain is awake, basically. But you are not awake. In fact, you are paralyzed. So we're going to go over that in a minute, too. Being awake, very small, quick brain waves. Stage 1, they look small, but then they start to become a little more irregular. Being jarred back into being awake is actually called hypnagogic, but that's a kind of a technical term. People don't typically realize it, that they're falling asleep when that happens, but you do have an image of yourself falling off a roof, off a chair, off a mountain, whatever. That happens in stage 1. I think everybody's familiar with that, right? In any class you've taken in high school or college, did you learn about Charles Darwin? I bet you did, right? Do you think you could explain why that happens to humans in any Darwinian sort of way? Why would it be good that you could be jarred back into being awake? Anything good about it at all? You're thinking survival like Darwin? What do you think?
For survival purposes.
Like what? What could possibly be happening?
Yeah, predator coming.
Exactly! You're being attacked, a predator! We have a big giant husky at home. Yeah, like him jumping on you. I would want to be able to get out of there. Huh? No, he's not mean, luckily, but a little overwhelming. So yeah, maybe there is some evolutionary purpose. Maybe Darwin was right. Stage 2, bigger, more regular in spindles. Stage 3 and 4, you want to wake up feeling rested tomorrow. Get plenty of delta sleep. 3 and 4, and do plenty of dreaming. You'll wake up feeling better than if you get a minimum of those things. Now, I want someone to answer this for me too. Instead of being able to get up and walk around and do things, during rapid eye movement, when you're dreaming, you are often paralyzed. Not completely, but largely paralyzed. Why might that be a good thing? What do you think? Right, but what should be your obvious question? What about sleepwalking? Isn't that what you said? Yeah, your Atonia's not working. Go to Walmart and buy a bottle of Atonia. Then you'll know. I'm joking. Yeah, it's just one of those brain things. Your Atonia's not working. It should keep you paralyzed. But you get up and you walk around. That's not good, huh? Especially you're doing useless things. There you go. A whole stage from 1 through REM and back to 1 or 2 again. Usually about 90 minutes. So who's really good at math? How many dreams would you have in a night? 4, 5, even 6, right? 90-minute cycles, depending on how long you sleep. So why is it we don't remember 4, 5, or 6 dreams? I don't have an answer, by the way. I'm just curious. You don't wake up and remember 6 dreams, do you?
Well, because we don't get all the way awake though.
Yeah, exactly. You don't go back to being awake, so it doesn't register that you're awake. Did you know your brain can even continue where it left off in the previous cycle? Wouldn't it be cool if you had a narrator saying, in our previous episode, and then you would know, right? Yeah, okay, it's continuing here. Weird things in our brain, don't you think? Wait, feel free to chime in anytime you want.
You should also notice that animals like have 2 dogs, and they dream, legs be moving and so forth. And like humans, they wake quickly again for predators. Okay.
So we talked about this, didn't we? You want to feel awake and alert the next day and feel good? Get plenty of that delta sleep and dreaming too. Yeah.
What would you attribute that feeling when you feel somebody watching you or something watching you?
During a dream? Or just in...
Or if you're asleep and you wake up because you're like, something's watching me?
Yes. I don't know that I can fully explain that if you're ultra aware, if it's part of your dream, or if you're just like hypersensitive to things going on. And I would question, does that happen more when you're alone or when you're, you got your whole family sleeping there? Is there any difference? What about a familiar place like home compared to sleeping in a hotel? But that is a very relevant part of sleep when you feel like you're being watched or you feel like you're not alone. I once saw this meme on social media that said, there is no nicer sound than a baby laughing. Unless it's 3 a.m. and you don't have a baby. Right? Yeah, then like, oh, this is creepy. I hear that, but it's not real. Across the lifespan. Look around this room. We don't have any young children, but we do have a nice diversity of age in this room. So, when you are little, like a baby, when you are 90, and everything in between, what kind of pattern do you notice? Yeah, that REM sleep is going down. Non-REM sleep is deteriorating from when you're young, being awake. Now, I told you, Psych 101 and other classes. I've had students, even this year, one student raised his hand and we went over this and he goes, yeah, Scott, I let them call me by my first name, by the way, I don't care. Scott, I don't mean to argue with you, but my grandma lives with us, and like when I'm talking to her, she'll start going, and I said, well, you're boring, I'm sorry. Another answer. No, so at 3 p.m, grandma's falling asleep. What do you think she's doing at 3 a.m? Wide awake, right? That's the problem. This is within a 24-hour day. So here it is. You guys all have the PowerPoint printout. We got plenty more if you don't. Some of you came in late. Maybe you need one. More importantly, did you get candy? That's still going around the room? Okay. Make sure you get both. It's very important. Especially the candy. All right. What are you noticing here? Anything significant? 20, 40, 50, 70, 80 years old? What are you noticing?
Getting old sucks.
Yeah, it does. Stay young forever. I would highly recommend it. Yeah, which one do you notice drops the most, like percentage-wise? Slow wave is delta sleep. 20% of your night compared to 7? That sucks, huh? Who said getting old sucks? Yeah, that's right there, right? Don't you think? A lot of these, but yeah, especially that one. How long does it take you to fall asleep? Not that much different, would you agree? Total time in sleep. Yeah, getting old sucks. Look up there. See? Okay. Sleep disorders. You hear about this in Psych 101 and other classes, so we don't need to spend too much time on this. How about just a little bit? Sleepwalking, it can happen in delta instead of REM. It can also happen in REM when you don't have atonia, that paralysis. Not usually dangerous. You know what people usually do when they sleepwalk? Meaningless things. Do you take all the clothes off the hangers? Do you take things out of the refrigerator and bite into the stick of butter? You do things that are like useless and purposeless. Like, why did I do that? Nightmares, bad dreams that usually are interfering with your life. Like you don't want to sleep the next day. It bothers you the next day. You're going to be talking about that in a few minutes, right? Yes. Sleep terrors, also known as night terrors, more of a panic reaction. Let me ask you this. Anybody ever have this happen when you're around a kid who's maybe under the age of 5? It's actually very common that you hear them screaming, kicking, flailing their arms and legs, and you go in there and they don't even know anything's wrong. Maybe they don't even wake up. You ever been around that? Scary, isn't it? Think, what is wrong? Oh, nothing. The kid doesn't even realize anything's wrong. Much more common in little kids. Narcolepsy. All right, let's see who has a good memory. How long does the whole cycle take? About? Well, if you have narcolepsy, the definition is 2 minutes or less, but a lot of people with narcolepsy get it in a matter of seconds. Wide awake, dreaming. What could possibly go wrong, right? Where could that be a problem? Yeah, if this was Family Feud, number one answer, driving, right? Even like swimming or something, right? Like, oh my goodness, you fell asleep. By the way, I do multiple things at my college. Most of us full-time instructors do. I also work in our disabilities office, and we tell students, if you have the ability as a student with a disability to tell your instructors or not tell them. If you have narcolepsy, I would tell them. Why? It should be obvious, don't you think? How come? Yeah, you don't want to look like you're rude, right? You just fell asleep, you fell over in your chair or something. So yeah, I recommend to the students who have that, like, tell your instructors. Okay, a couple of you were going to say something. I interrupted. Yeah.
Is hypersomnia similar?
There's a few kinds of hypersomnia, yeah, and one is called Klein-Levin syndrome, also called sleeping beauty syndrome, where people can sleep like 18 or 20 hours a day. You would never get anything done, school or work or whatever. I could have shown you a video on that too. But hypersomnia is defined as whatever you want it to be. You sleep more than you want to sleep. But technically, if you're sleeping 14, 16 hours a day, you're not being productive, are you? Good question. What else? Somebody over here? No, just stretching? Okay. Apnea. We just saw the video of looking at it on the EEG. Your breathing is disrupted. And that's probably what this guy has here. Was anybody watching that first video with the little kid and thinking, how on earth do you sleep with all that stuff in your hair? Were you thinking that?
Yeah.
Okay. Was I the only one thinking, if that was me, I would blink 100 times and then hold my breath just to see what they would say? No? Okay, I'm the only one? That's fine. Well, apnea, disrupted breathing. Here's another thing that would be hard to sleep with. What is that called?
CPAP.
A CPAP. Yeah, exactly. Trying to regulate your breathing, but it's not all that comfortable to sleep with, is it? Anybody can get apnea, anybody. But there is a pattern. The pattern is you're male. Males get it more than females. Middle age. Overweight. And if you put nicotine into your lungs, one way or the other, smoking, vaping, whatever, you are more likely to be a candidate for apnea. So, a friend sees you tonight or tomorrow and says, hey, how was that evening lecture psychology thing last night? And you were like, oh, it's pretty cool. We talked about all kinds of things like sleep disorders. And this friend says to you, oh, I have a relative with apnea. What should you guess? That relative is what? See, perfect. Yep. And then your friend is like, You're exactly right. How did you know? He's my Uncle Ted. That's exactly what he is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a smaller percentage. Just like narcolepsy, it tends to be like 12 to 30. But what if you're younger? What if you're older? You're right. You're just in a smaller percentage. Because yes, women absolutely can have this. Yeah, what if you're a woman and you're thin and you don't even touch nicotine? That you're just not part of that profile percentage-wise, but yes, you could still have it. And even your doctor should tell you that. Like, you're not the typical case. You're not. Yes, and drinking too. We could go into all kinds of things. You're right. What else about this? Now you guys are interested, huh? Insomnia. Did you know there's 3 kinds of insomnia, but you could have 2 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 3? Anybody, this isn't too personal, I don't think. Anybody have at least one night in your whole life that you didn't get a good night's sleep? The rest of you, liars? Okay. Everybody does, don't you think? Everybody. 3 kinds. Which one are you familiar with personally? That you lay there and you just can't fall asleep? Or that you do fall asleep, but you keep waking up? Or that you do fall asleep and you stay asleep, but you wake up way too early? You don't have to be up till 7:30 and you get up at 3 or something. Just way too early. Any of those sound familiar personally? Yeah? The last one? Oh, the last 2? Okay. First one?
All 3 of them.
All 3. There's my mother back there. You want to wave hello to everybody? You want to say anything? All 3? Okay, yeah. Yeah. See? It's so frustrating. It really is. But yeah, you could have more than one of those. It seems like when I teach this, somebody interrupts me. What if I have 2 of them? Yeah, of course you could have more than one. You could have 2 or all 3. Okay, we're almost done, and it's almost Dr. Al's turn to talk about your dream. Sleep deprivation. Have you ever gone a night without any sleep or hardly any sleep? What does it feel like? Horrible. Oh, foreboding. That's a big word. That's a good word. My wife's sitting in the second to last row there. I drove across the country with her sister, my sister-in-law, years ago. She was moving out of state. We pushed it way too far one night. We drove like many hours. We kept taking turns, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am feeling punch drunk, whatever you want to call it. I could lay down and fall asleep right now. That is not a good feeling. I'm glad she was more alert than I was, but that is not a fun feeling. You can hallucinate like somebody with schizophrenia. You could fall asleep instantly. And by the way, when we're deprived of REM sleep, the next time that you fall asleep, that dreaming occurs very quickly. Did you have that experience? You go into dreaming like right away? It's pretty crazy. So, did you know this part? Micro sleeping. When you think you're not sleeping, you could be sleeping for seconds at a time. That's why it's not good to be driving or doing anything dangerous when you're tired. Because you might think, oh, I'm awake, and you are micro sleeping. It's possible. Yeah, in the back.
So when I was a teenager, I used to go full all-nighters. A lot easier than I can now, and I'm definitely not a teenager. Why can we recuperate better from sleep deprivation when we're younger?
It's true. The body and the mind heal quicker when you're younger. And same thing with like staying out all night. Oh, did you mean like studying or partying? You can be honest with us. Studying. Oh, not partying. Okay.
Of course.
Now it's like 3 days to recover from 1 hour.
Exactly. All right, you were talking studying. I thought you were talking partying. Same thing if you like to party late in the night when you're young, and then when you're older, you just can't do it anymore. I just brought up social media memes a minute ago, right? Have you ever seen this one that, like, for people my age, and it said, when I was young, I used to sneak out of my home to go to parties. Now, I sneak out of parties to go home. It's true, yeah. That's what happens when you get to be my age. Okay. Why do we dream? What do they do for us? This is what Dr. Al is going to talk to you about in a minute. two theories. One, is it unconscious, psychodynamic, Freudian? There's hidden meaning in your dreams. There's symbolism that you're supposed to catch on to. Maybe even a message to help you solve a problem in the future. Well, the activation synthesis theory would say, ridiculous. You're telling me my dog has meaningful dreams to help him the next day, help him solve a problem in his life or her life? I don't want to be sexist. Dogs can be girls too. Raccoons, chipmunks, they have dreams. So maybe your brain just makes up a story. There's all these brain chemicals flying around from your pons and reticular activating system to the frontal lobe, but yet you're paralyzed, where you know what's happening during your dream, and maybe even you can control it. You can kind of live through your dreams. In rapid eye movement, you're aware that you're dreaming, and maybe you can even alter what's happening in your dream. You ever have one of those? Interesting. Lucid dreaming. By the way, there's some studies of this where people are in REM sleep and they're given suggestions by somebody who, if you're in a sleep lab or something, and trying to change your dreams and then waking you up and saying, so what did you just dream about? Anything that I told you while you were sleeping? It's interesting. Any thoughts or questions on that? Okay, now the fun part. You have three options if you want to talk about any of your dreams with several dozen people in here. Hopefully, we'll have at least a few participants. Do you want to text in your dream without putting your name and be anonymous? Pull out your phone and do that. You're more than welcome. You send it to not a 10-digit phone number, this one, 37607. And what do you put in the message? That page number, 24368, space, describe your dream. Or fill out the index card. That's an old school choice. Or raise your hand. That's really old school. Yeah.
That fits me.
Which one?
You have heard this before, but way back when, about 20 plus years ago, I took one of my children to see Dr. Al Silberman because I had heard great things about him. And he told me about a dream he had, told me his theory about dreaming, how it's helping our life. And since then, I've become interested in dreaming, and I've paid more attention to my dreams since that time when I
Oh my goodness. That's a cool
and I
story.
remember the specific dream he told me that that he had that helped him as a father. And so it was fascinating to me. So he had a big influence on me. I just wanted to share that.
That's nice. Okay, we only have one here so far, but if you want to text it in rather than everybody, seeing that it was you that had that really odd dream, or index card, or you could just raise your hand and tell him. This will be the last part of tonight. Make sure that you get a handout with all these papers, especially if you're doing this for extra credit and you got to write something up. Or you could, write it up on the index card, whatever. Oh, and make sure you take some candy. Do we have some left or do they eat it? We have left? Yeah. Pass this around again. You know what the problem is? If you guys don't eat this, I will. That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah. What's that? Oh, okay. So we could even have our Psi Beta officers pick up your index cards, or you could raise your hand and tell them your dream, or you could text it in. We only have one so far texting, but it's up to you.
Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just start. One of the things that I got into psychology, it's kind of a strange story. I was 16 years of age. I was in a class called Business Machines in high school, and I had with me a book called The Meaning of Dreams, The Meaning of Freudian Dreams by Calvin S. Hall. So this girl comes over and she says, oh, dreams, she had a dream, she said, of a knife and a spoon together and it breaks off. She said, what does that mean? And I said, oh, I just read about that. I said, are your parents getting divorced? She screamed at me and said, who told you? Who told you? You couldn't have gotten that from that dream. And that's exactly what happened. That was symbolic of the male and female. That was a Freudian dream. But a lot of dreams are what we're trying to work through in the course of the day. I had a client, they were going for marriage counseling, and the husband says to the wife, she analyzed the dream in seconds. He had no idea what it was. And that's why a lot of us just block on what the meaning of the dream is, when it may be obvious to someone else. He said, I had a dream that I was in Texas, and Texas was seceding from the Union, and she's hysterically laughing. And he says, what is that? She says, we're here for marriage counseling, and you're thinking of leaving, like Texas, seceding from the marriage union. And that was right. Oh, well, I had a dream recently that I was on a subway. I grew up in New York City, and in New York, when you ask somebody for directions, they always give you the wrong direction. They don't know. They just have to tell you. And I was trying to find how I get back on the subway, which way, and I was just kind of lost for it. And when I looked at it, what was it about was I had just retired at age 80, was one of the oldest psychologists, and I was looking for direction because that was so much a part of my life for over 50 years. You know, where am I going? What am I doing? Can I volunteer? What can I do now? So that was part of my dream. A lot of dreams that we have are dreams of, let me go over just some of the very common dreams that people have. Dreams, and what's interesting is that they're in all cultures. People have dreams of flying. If you're in a certain culture where it's not Superman, it'll be another character from that culture. Dreams of being chased and you're running and somebody's about to get you, and just as they grab you, you wake up, usually. Dreams of falling, very, very common. And you grab on the side of the bed. Dreams of losing a loved one who may be alive, but you're afraid of losing them. Dreaming about a deceased person. Your parents, grandparents maybe have gone a long time ago, and they're in your dream talking to you. Feeling like you want to scream and you can't. That's usually during that REM cycle of sleep. Dreams of cheating, you're cheating, or your loved one's cheating. Dreams of being naked. You're sitting in a class and you're totally naked, but nobody notices. In those dreams. It's vulnerability. Dreams of being back in school, in high school usually, or elementary school, but usually high school. Dreams of trying to find something or someone. Dreams of losing control of a vehicle. What I believe dreams are our unconscious mind trying to deal with problems that we had. And usually the stimulus for the dream is within 24 hours. Something triggered that. You're trying to work that through, but you're asleep. And that's what the dream is trying to tell you something about what you're worried about, what you're trying to deal with. All right, let's go for questions. Yes.
I actually have two that I'd like to ask about, if that's okay. So the first one is, it's actually my mom, and she told me, it was a dream where there was a car, and on the car window, it said, this is the end. And then that same day, my Thea, we got a phone call that she was murdered in the back of the car. So like, what is like, why, that's just crazy when she told me that, that's just crazy.
Yeah, the dream, some people believe dreams predict the future. A lot of things in the Bible were that way. Personally, I don't. Something was more about vulnerability.
Yeah.
What does a car represent to you? That's another way in analyzing dreams. It takes really usually like a long time because I have to know, what do you think? What's a car to you? Well, how would you describe a car to somebody who never saw a car?
Well, like, it's a moving vehicle, it's a moving box, I guess, at the same time.
And what do you associate with moving vehicles?
Going somewhere?
Okay. Were you worried about anybody going somewhere, like dying?
No, this was on my mom, but she wasn't really young. And then we just got that phone call, and it was just crazy. My second one though, is I have some past things, and I talked to this person, and like progressively over years, they are like, yeah, like you're different, like what happened? Because I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that vulnerable person I'm used to be. Is that like me progressing as a person?
Yes,
Is that what that is?
exactly, yeah. She's saying here she had a dream about her past,
Someone who.
behavior, right?
Yeah.
And notices now the changes, but you're still dealing with maybe, why were you that way?
Yeah,
Are you?
yeah.
Okay. All right, it's gonna be tough to do, because most of these dreams, we do it in counseling, take 20, 30 minutes, so
Yeah.
we'll try to
Yeah.
do it quickly. Anyone else? Got somebody back? Then we'll go to you next.
Okay. So my question was, so I had dreams. I mean, I don't know if it's like, I guess I'm Native American, so I don't know if it involves my culture or anything, but.
Dreams and Native American cultures too believe in spirits coming out and so forth, but yes.
So I had dreams of things that haven't happened, and so, and then in the future, like, it happens. So I dream about it, and then it happens. Is it have anything to do with, I guess, cultural traditions, or if it's.
Yeah, some of it is cultural, what we talked about, some of it is like dreams of spirits and so forth. Native American, other cultures have different things, but you're saying you have dreams of something before it happens. Yeah, the only thing is, there are not many studies on people writing it down and then seeing if it really happens, or if they had a different type of interpretation and it wasn't exactly that. So you would have to write it down, which is one of the things I say, if you want to get into your dreams, is write them down. But yeah, but the dreams of predicting, I mean, that's been in the Bible, that's been forever, that people believe you can predict good and bad of what's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, sorry, you. Next.
So I have one that is actually a prediction, it's kind of a funny story, and then one that's actually a good question for one.
Okay.
So the predictive one is I had a car with gasoline, and so I cut the tires in the car. After finding that out, and I had a dream that there was smoke coming from the back seats, and we're like, get out of the car, it's gonna blow. And it didn't. We were just standing outside of it, and there was no explosion, only smoke. And so I got a new car, and we transferred the fire extinguisher to that car. 9 minutes away from the dealership, his fire extinguisher hit something in the back seat, or like hit something in the trunk, and starts going off. And I smell a smell, hear a sound, and I look back and there's a piece of cloud coming up over the back seat, and all I can think of, that's why it didn't explode. Another one is I had a dream about like there was a secret room in my house, a secret library. And then coming out of the secret library, there was like 2 stories, which we never had 2 stories, but there was a 2-story part with a door, and the staircase was broken. It was a wooden staircase that just stopped. So there's a door that it should connect to. What does that look like?
So there's 2, tell me again, 2 stories.
Yeah, it was a 2-story house. My house was never 2
I've
stories.
never lived in a 2-story house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the 2-story house, and there was a secret library.
Library.
And then when I come out of it, there's the door up top for the 2nd story, but the staircase to that door is just a wooden staircase, but it's broken.
It probably is something from your past, of what you're still trying to deal with, and something about hiding who you were or who you are. Would that be something in the past that you, as a kid or child, had probably? And, trying to climb broken stairs is very, very difficult. So you're saying this, I think the dream is something from your past that's very difficult when you're trying to deal with if you want to hide from whatever those are. And we all have things like when we're in school, being teased, being humiliated, things we did. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so sometimes I'll wake up, the day will go on and somebody will say something or do something, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I had a dream about that. It just sparks my dream. So.
Yeah, there's not that much evidence that it was something maybe similar to it, but we don't really seem to have exact things happening to us, but it feels like it. Because again, you would have to write it down, as I was saying, as soon as you got up, and then if it happened, then that would be a great
Okay.
example.
And then too, I don't know if this is But sometimes when I wake up, I can't make a fist.
Again, what?
Can't make a fist.
A fist?
Is that just normal or?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
That during REM cycle of sleep, you also feel paralyzed. Somebody's chasing after you and you can't run. And in real life, you're watching somebody, they're going through the movements, they can't move. So that's very, very common. Yes.
I had a dream like 2 times. I was renting a bedroom, like in a place with a lot of people who lived in an apartment. And then I saw in the walls a fox, like very shiny like LSD, and then a little turtle in the other wall, and then like a big window, and I'm like in there, and I had that dream 2 times. I don't know if it means anything.
What does a turtle mean to you?
A happiness,
Happiness?
like cute. I don't know.
Right. See, that's one of the things with dream interpretation is you got to get the person's view of it. Because a turtle to you would be something totally different to me. I had a roommate in college from Thailand and he used to dream of snakes, and which is a common theme too. And I said, "Oh, something wicked." He says, "No, in Thailand that's a good sign. That's a sign of love. That's positive." So for you, a turtle is happiness, right? And
It's like
in this dream, tell me again, what was besides the turtle?
Fox.
Fox?
Yeah, red fox.
What is that? What do you, how would you describe a red fox?
The balls are very shiny and very colorful in the room. And there's 2 walls.
And what do you describe as a fox? What else?
What else?
Is in the dream.
Well, no, I mean, what she means by,
Oh.
what does a fox mean? What do you associate with it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is it positive, or if I saw
I
a
think
fox?
it's all positive. I think it's
Positive?
all
I would
positive.
be afraid of a fox if I saw a
No.
fox. No? And this was what, in a room you were renting?
Yeah, I was renting a room.
What, have you rented rooms?
Yeah.
Have you had both happiness and not happiness in some of the rooms you rented?
Yeah.
Okay, there's more to it. I mean, we can't get into it now, but I would think that there's things from the fox and the turtle, you know, some were happy, some were not happy, but there's a lot more involved in it. We probably don't have time to talk about it.
There's
Yes,
a- Yeah, student in the back here, and then, I don't know if you see what's doing here, there's gotta be a few dozen.
okay.
Oh my goodness, look what we started.
So I think it's like I don't know, like 4 times now. It's like so I'm in my house, right? When I go through like this is hallway. There's always a bunch of names on, like my mom, my dad, my brother, a bunch of people in the room, right? But I can't get in the room with my name in it, so I go looking for a key. I'm looking for the key. But like when I go to look at my mom's name in it, she turns into a dragon. That's like I swear to you. I don't know why she's a dragon, but it keeps happening, like really very. So yeah, that's all I remember. That's the extent of my memory.
So again, childhood issues, we never, you know, the Freudians believe that the child is the father of man or woman, meaning that the child is much older than the adult who's here now. So if you're 25, the child who was 5 is much older, and those are the experiences that are going to affect you. So if there are things, without getting too personal with your thing of maybe finding some things in your house, in your rooms, that you don't feel like you're a part of or can get into, or people you can't really talk to, you ever feel like you weren't really part of the family?
Or important enough in your family.
Important enough?
And the part with your mom, I would say like, does your mom have like a Medea-like quality about her where she just goes off on you? That's what I would want to know.
You don't have to answer, but
Yeah.
are we close? Other things like that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a quick question. Is it true that some cultures, I believe like Thailand, the Thai people believe that dreams are another world and that the children are encouraged to discuss their dreams at breakfast?
Yeah, I don't know about Thailand, but in some Native American countries, yes, a lot of people do believe they're prophecy, and that you really need, most people need to understand your dreams. They've got another one. And we've got questions on board. So when I was 10, I was seeing a red vision, all red. I was running away from a dark figure, kept escaping around the house, and ended up in my usually those dreams, again, a child's dreams, what was then, what were you running from at that time? You know, was it, maybe something somebody doesn't want to talk about, but you had to escape. Was it a father? Was it a brother? Was it an uncle? Was it an aunt? Was it a mother? Usually it's male figures that are the evil ones. But
By the way, I should have warned you about this. Poll everywhere is kind of like Twitter, which is now known as X. It limits the number of characters you can put in one message. You have to continue it to a second one. So this one might have been cut off here. It might have reached the limit. But take a look, Dr. Al, what we got going on here.
okay.
There's just a lot of them. Let me see if I can. Where is the? There it is. Look.
Wow.
Anybody bring a pillow? Like we can just take a nap here? Okay. Oh yeah, it does sound like that.
Yeah, the one with Pillsbury Doughboy. That was, again, dreams of being chased. It's one of the most common dreams. Dreams of falling, dreams of flying, which is like escape dreams. You want to escape from something. Many times when I've had people in marriage counseling, whether the wife or the husband, usually the wife, will say, I have this dream of flying, and I'll say, unhappy in your relationship, yes. You feel like you want to escape, yes, but I can't because of the kids and so forth. So dreams of being chased like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Sorry, go ahead.
So I have Shuma, and I did notice quite a few people texted in. Dreams about teeth falling out.
Yes.
That's a really common one. What does that mean?
Yeah, dreams of teeth falling out is very common. Let me go to the sheet here for a minute. That was from the literature. That usually those are signs of your own vulnerability. Let me grab that for a minute. If your teeth fall out, you may have trouble talking, you may have trouble eating, you become much more vulnerable. And that's a very common dream of teeth falling out. Should we go back to?
Yeah, you got some index cards there, and we've got dozen. No, here that in the corner of that table. But then also there's dozens up here. I don't know that we're gonna get to all of them. Sorry. I thought you guys would be just one of those like taking up space. I'm not gonna participate. That didn't happen, did it? Okay.
Yeah, we have the thing about dreams falling out, teeth falling out, about having a hard time walking, legs are moving during the lightest stage of sleep. That very frequently happens. You can even watch somebody, you'll see that they're trying to move and can't. My mom believes that she can prophesize in dreams. She has dreams about certain subjects she believes they will happen in the future. For example, dreaming about scorpions, lots of rain, or even feces. Again, as far as we know, as far as studies show us, you can't really, dreams don't predict the future unless it's something that you are just know is going to happen. You notice your grandparent or somebody not looking good, and you have a dream they died. And that's where it comes out from, but it was your thought. So yeah.
I have like a consistent, like if I'm working a lot, I will like come home from work, go to bed, dream about being at work, wake up, go to work, go to bed, dream about being at work. Like I'll get stuck in this cycle of just being stuck at work all the time.
Yeah, and that's again, just the stress. And a lot of dreams are stress related. One dream that comes out toward the end of my practice, this woman had a dream of that there was like a robot. It said it was more like mechanical, come boom, 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 boom. She said it was kind of scary. I didn't know what to do, but I wasn't terrified. I don't know what it was. So I said, tell me what's going on. Oh, nothing really. And then she said, oh, well, yesterday I made an appointment for an MRI. And I said, have you had one before? Yeah. I said, what does it sound like? Boom, boom, boom. And it was just her fear of what the MRI might show, not the MRI itself.
What about dreams that like where you can't scream? Like,
Right.
what is that?
Very common dream during the REM cycle of sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And if you watch somebody, that's exactly what they're doing at that time. But
Nope.
yeah,
That's not a whole lot different than what I saw pop up here on the scroll is like one of choking. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but not too
yeah,
far off.
not too far off.
Yeah.
And usually it may be some respiratory problems, but things that go on in our day are things that we're trying to work through in our dream. Should we go back to this or? I don't know.
Kind of thought process of that. If you're having a dream where you're moving in like slow motion, is that usually during REM?
That's during REM. Yeah, you actually can watch somebody do that.
Okay, it's gonna sound weird, but I'm married and like, just a few years after I was married, I had this dream where like, I had a dream that I cheated on my husband and I woke up and I wasn't sure if it was, I thought it was real. Like, it seemed so real.
So you
And
apologize. And then
I know, like, I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But it was so bizarre, and I've had not that same dream, but other dreams where you're like, this seriously happened, like where I don't know if it was a dream or if it actually happened.
Right, usually after you wake up for a little bit, you can tell. But usually dreams of cheating are either something that we worry about ourselves, but most probably we really are worried about the other person. If you grew up in a family where there was cheating, smiling, you may have been more prone to dream that.
What is this? A projector. So you've probably heard of the Freudian term projection from Psych 101. We put our thoughts and feelings onto other people. If you have a dream that you're the one cheating, is there any chance that you're afraid that your partner's going to do that to you? You're projecting that feeling onto them like a projector?
I think that's kind of what you're saying, maybe was the underlying theme of the dream, not you cheating, but worried about cheating in a relationship.
My main, I mean, I'm not worried about that. My main thing was like, why sometimes when you wake up, do you know when a dream is a dream? And sometimes you're like, not sure.
Yeah, it takes a little while to realize it's not. When I said about worried about your husband, it may not be your husband, but you may have been exposed to cheating as a child with somebody, whether it's parents or whatever. All right, we go. 18 years ago, I just moved to Arizona and moved in with my mom and stepdad. There we go. I dreamt my mom and I were riding in a car, and she was driving. Was that?
This one might have been too many characters and cut off like, you know.
Oh, okay.
How about Nicki Minaj? That's a good one. Who doesn't? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
I have false memories and dreams of something, sometimes years of experience that relate to the world that I'm in during the dream, like I've been living.
Secret life. Second, yeah.
Living in a second life, yeah. Again, false memories, a lot of stuff, a lot of childhood issues, we all have them. Going through, toughest age, is probably between junior high through the middle of high school, where we get a lot of harassment, a lot of negative things that happen to us. Like the junior and senior year, usually things get a lot better. The kids go through a heck of a lot of teasing, ridicule, even kids who are attractive, and they get teased a lot.
So I want to ask Professor Palmer or anybody else who's responsible for coordinating, when are we supposed to be done? At 8:15 or 8:30?
About around now.
That's what I thought. Have you ever heard that expression, a broken clock is right 2 times a day? No, it's not 6:08, so yeah, it's behind a little bit. Should we do one more and be done? Okay, because we do have to be done here. So, the ex-boyfriend?
The bottom one. You can scroll.
Bottom one? Okay.
Come on. Yeah, just scroll.
Which one? You want to pick? Which one?
That one.
This one?
Yeah. I was being chased around by hundreds of little men with peaky masks in a warehouse where everything was giant.
Wasn't that a Twilight Zone? Sounds like it.
Yeah, again, without asking the person what, who are little men in your life? And wearing masks and hiding who they are. That can be a real heavy drinking. If you felt that they were men in your life that people didn't know the other side of them, whether it's molesting, whether it's beating, whether it's other things. But again, it's very hard to do it as you see this way, one-to-one, without going into, in the office, when I would do it, it'd be about 20 minutes or so before I could get at what's their meaning. What my meaning is one thing, it's totally different than someone else. When I said like snakes, my friend from Thailand, my roommate, snakes were something very different to him than they were to me. So this was just a quick run through. Sorry we can't interpret more, but it really takes time to go through things. Again, certain dreams, maybe there's one thing to add real quickly to this. For a minute, just common interpretations of some of the dreams. Let me get to that. Dreams of being chased, usually, it appears somebody trying to avoid something in their life, something unpleasant. Being unprepared for a test is a common recurrent dream. It relates to feeling anxious about a work project and feeling you're gonna fail. Falling, one of the common dreams where you feel you may have fallen down in the eyes of other people. Flying is common, wanting to escape, losing a loved one, feelings of, in relationships that something may be happening, dreaming about a dead person may relate to unfinished business. We'll go through this real quickly. Feeling you want to scream but can't often comes from a form of sleep, where you feel like you're paralyzed. A few more. Cheating usually is the feelings of insecurity and neglect. They also relate to your desire, guilt. Being naked is childlike. People don't know you, they don't recognize you, you're ashamed, and yet nobody's noticing. Anyway, that's a quick run through, we're out of time.
Can I apologize if we didn't get to yours? I honestly thought that maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 people would participate in that. What was it, like 100? Sure seemed like it. My goodness, yeah, lots of texts, several index cards, and then a bunch of you raising your hands too. We had a good combination there, but you guys have been fantastic. I really appreciate it.
And thank you very much for allowing us to talk with you. Again, in my retirement, it was a good thing for me to do.